guys, this is What If Deku Was Gambit Part 2. Now, it's been like a while since I made Part 1 of this, but I'm about to dive right into it. I'm about to get you guys with like multiple different uploads back to back to back. And I'm going to be dropping a lot more different Deku What Ifs. I've just been making a little bit of a break from the Deku What Ifs, but yeah, let's dive right into it. So basically, I'm not going to be uploading too much new Deku videos until maybe like August 16th to August 20th. But let's just dive right into this fanfiction. What If Deku Was Gambit, Part 2. Last time I left off, we see that assassin was after Izuku, or said on a comm, saying that they found him. Now, they'll learn more about how the assassins play a part in Deku's life in this universe, and also how, well, surprise, surprise, Deku lives with Aizawa, and he's practically kind of his adopted son. You'll learn more about that in detail in Part 1, so watch that. But let's dive right into it. So, when we last left off, we see that Izuku would have gotten a pretty good score doing the exams, or basically secondary exams, Aizawa would have told the class to do, as Aizawa would have driven Izuku with him, as they would have started to just chill, as Aizawa would be in his room, as Izuku would be the first one just chilling in his room. Well, not chilling in his room, but chilling in the Class 1A, sorry, I'm drawing blanks. Class 1A, as we see that Aizawa would have left, telling Izuku that he had to pretty much attend to some business, and that another hero will come and basically teach the class for the day. Telling Izuku to basically look forward to what Aizawa assigned his outfit to be for today. As Izuku says, what do you mean hero costumes? We're getting them today? As Aizawa says to Deku not to spill the beans to everybody else. He walks away, as he says, Izuku just stands there as he eventually gets interrupted when pretty much Bakugo walks into the room. Him being surprisingly the second one, or technically first one there in class, because he wasn't driven here by a teacher, as pretty much Bakugo would have just scoffed at Izuku, but just basically kind of just not liking Izuku for some reason. Don't know why. But he would just sit back down. Izuku would just scoff and sit back down. Izuku would be playing some cards, as he would eventually get interrupted by Momo. As Momo would have told him that you're pretty good with those, as Izuku says thank you. Izuku would start to flirt a little bit with her, but they would be interrupted later on in the class when, well, All Might shows up. All Might would have told the class that the day is I was going to be out for today, don't know why, but today they're going to be doing combat training, and they're going to be getting their booties real tight and wet. Whoa!
Nothing much, my nigga just came back from one of the Diddy parties, Shan. You should have been there. It was stinking balls everywhere, Shan. Where was his phone? Nah, Shan, you should come to the Diddy party next time, B. Nah, Diddy was in there shaking his...
I mean, they go be getting their butts kicked or handed to the... I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm very out of pocket sometimes, and you know this. But let's just dive back into it. So, everybody would be told to get ready as freaking All Might, damn. All Might would have pressed out a button and basically told the class to get ready and get suited up. As a bunch of suitcases would have popped out of the wall, as everybody would have started to look at it, being super surprised by it. Izuku would have looked towards his one, as he would have picked it up, as he would have opened it, seeing a bright, shiny purple case or vest, as he would have been kind of surprised, but also kind of happy by this, as it had certain weapons and basically, well, attachments to it that suited for his quirk and his individual personalities and his traits and his powers. We can switch to Izuku getting ready, as everybody would have been told to get ready and to get suited up and to go in the, well, training grounds. Izuku getting suited up, as everybody would have kind of liked his suit, but it seemed as kind of villainous at a certain point because he looks kind of low-key. Izuku says that's the point, as he walks out with the original OG Gambit suit with the silver boots and the purple lining on the side of his thighs and the purple vest and the trench coat and the fingered gloves, like multiple, like I think the middle fingers are covered and the pointer finger and the pinky finger aren't, and I think also the thumbs are exposed too. Him also having the trench coat with the iconic bow staff and stack of cards. The trench coat would hold a lot of Izuku's utilities, since his suit is basically bulletproof doing the vest. The vest is very flexible for some reason, like super like thin fabric type flexible, but it is very bulletproof once it gets hit with a solid object moving at supersonic speeds. So a slow type of hit like someone slowly pushing a blade in Deku's chest, it will go through the middle. But it's more like, I can't remember the liquid was called, but the liquid that, well, YouTubers used to make like 2010, 2014, when you hit it and it turns solid if you hit it at a fast pace. So basic simple, Deku's armor is very well durable, but if someone like, I don't know, Shigaraki grabbed it and slowly pretty much decayed it, it would fall off. But yeah, so Izuku after that, he would also have Kevlar type of fabric for the black piece of his suits, so it would be very, very durable for cuts and slashes, but not really for stabs and bullet shots. You see how Izuku had gotten ready, as also his trench coat was like the only piece of his suit that was completely bulletproof, like Batman's cloak. Like, it legit took a lot of damage, but it could easily be taken down with, like, I don't know, a quirk that can basically exert over about maybe more than the average, maybe C4 or something. So we see that Izuku gets ready, and everybody's kind of happy by everybody's hero costumes. So Deku especially is very much satisfied with his hero costume. Him taking out a little bit of a baton, as it would have clicked, transforming into a bow staff. As Izuku would have said, this is awesome. Izuku's trench coat would have held a lot of his utilities, holding a bunch of shurikens, a bunch of throwing cards, and also a spare bow staff. And also the bow staff was made out of a titanium alloy similar to it, but a lot more lighter. So it basically would be light on his feet, and also it would be able to take a beating before it even started to bend, snap, or break. So let's dive right back into it. So after Izuku would have been basically pretty much handling with his outfit, everybody would have started to get ready and got teamed up. Izuku getting teamed up with Ochaku as everybody would have told to go, as Deku would have been teamed up with Ochaku against Iya and Bakugo. And Deku would have talked to Ochaku, telling her that, well, I don't know about you, Ochaku, but this mission's probably just gonna be me. Okay? As he runs off from Ochaku, as Ochaku kind of just pissed off a little bit, because Deku just dipped. Like, he's out. He's faster than the wind. He's done. He's out. He's gonna handle it himself. As All Might's watching this, seeing a little bit of a cocky type personality coming from Izuku, Izuku is kind of showing some cocky traits. Izuku watches from from afar, as we see that Ochaku follows after him, doing her own thing, and would have split up from him after she heard an explosion in the distance, as that would be Bakugo and Deku going at it. Bakugo would have saw Deku would have launched a huge explosion towards him, as Deku would have dodged out of it with pristine crispiness, as he would have landed back on his feet, hitting him with another bow staff, like literally chucking his spare bow staff straight at Bakugo's forehead. Bakugo would have been landed back on the ground, as he would have thrown a huge explosion towards Izuku. Izuku would have dodged it easily, jumping on top of the roof and basically using his inertia or his speed or his basically momentum to run up the wall and down the ceiling, falling right back next to Bakugo, as he would have hit Bakugo with a clean left hook straight to the noggin. Bakugo would have fell back to the ground, but doing some sort of side kick, like fall on his hands, and then basically backflip himself on back his feet. I don't know how to explain it, but you get what I'm saying. Where you get punched and the guy falls back, but catches himself with his hands and then pushes himself back on his feet. But we see how Izuku throws more punches towards Bakugo, but Bakugo starts to throw more punches, but also starts to weave a little bit of them, throwing a huge explosion towards Izuku's face. Izuku would have dodged out the way as fast as he could, but Bakugo grabbing Izuku's trench coat and chucking him into a wall. Izuku would have gotten back up before Bakugo could hit with a huge clean explosion, as Izuku would have touched Bakugo's pin and basically would have charged up with kinetic energy, saying bonjour, as he would have dipped out, as the explosion would have caused a chain reaction with the explosion on Bakugo's wrist, or the sweat or natural glycerin in his gauntlets, as a huge explosion would have set off, as Bakugo was sent flying into a nearby pillar and into another wall, into a different room. After that, we see that Izuku would have gotten back up, saying deuces, as he would have ran off. We see that, Bakugo would have gotten back up, saying F this, as he would have basically ran out of the building and would have started to propel himself up the building into the bomb room, knocking the snot out of Ochaku, as Ochaku was right next to the window, as Bakugo hits her with a huge explosion, knocking her out cold. Saying an announcement, All Might saying an announcement, that, or President Mike saying an announcement that Ochaku's down and Deku's the only one left. Deku hears this and says he needs a different game plan. He needs it now. You see that Izuku starts to run and run as he grabs a bunch of his playing cards and starts to charge them up with the kinetic energy. Run, him eventually kicking down the door as he made a huge smoke screen with multiple different explosions he set up with his playing cards. Izuku stands still, and the smoke screen starts to disorientate and throw off Ida and Bakugo. Ida goes first, but gets hit with a mean, and I mean mean, hit on the kneecaps with the bow staff. He gets slammed, like his knee inverts. And Ida's sent into a crying frenzy and falls dead on the ground. Deku jumps out of the smoke screen, hitting Bakugo upside the kneecap, or by the side of the kneecap with his bow staff, as Bakugo would have dodged out the way, but his second leg after he jumped up would have gotten hit with a huge explosion. Basically, Deku charging up his shoelace, blowing it up, and sending Bakugo down to the ground, him being basically one boot down. Bakugo would have thrown a huge explosion towards Izuku dodging it, but Bakugo getting right up in Deku's face, as he would have literally unhooked the other pin on his other gauntlet that wasn't damaged, as Deku's life would have flashed by his eyes, like it was like point blank range. Izuku would have dodged out of it as fast as he possibly could, grabbing Bakugo's arm, taking a whole entire deck of playing cards he's been charging up this whole time, and would have put it on the back of Bakugo's suit. He would have kicked Bakugo down to the ground as he would have jumped out of the way, saying timber, hit the deck. Bakugo would have started to freak out as he would have grabbed the back of the playing cards, chucking it in the other side of the room, but not fast enough to get out of the blow or the explosion impact, as Izuku would have been basically in the background by a pillar as a huge purple explosion would have happened. Bakugo getting sent flying through two pillars, getting knocked out cold, having multiple critical bone fractures. As what would happen is Ida would have still been on the ground in pain after his kneecap was literally inverted and actually obliterated by a clean, swift hit upside the kneecap with Deku's bow staff. As Izuku walks over to Ida and kicks him out, knocking him out, as basically Deku wins the match. Now, we see that they would have said that Izuku's tactics were very sneaky, but it suited his quirk very well. What would happen after that? We see how Izuku and the rest of the group would have started and did their, rest of their team and rest of their, missions, or, I guess, combat training. So what happened is Izuku would have walked out, and him getting picked up by Aizawa. Aizawa would have started to drive Izuku home and would have dropped him off, saying that he had to do some business as he would have driven off. We see how Izuku walks into the penthouse and basically opens up the door, but seeing that it was just unlocked. Izuku would have taken out one of his pretty much playing cards, his lucky pair, as Deku basically every day, him having like a whole entire suitcase of just playing cards like laid out. I mean, he would have playing cards for days. I mean, the entire closet just filled with multiple boxes of them bitches. And also having specialized ones that were kind of like aluminum. They were thicker and more denser than playing cards, but basically they would pack a bigger punch because they were denser, harder, and also they would be able to charge it would take like about 3 seconds for him to charge them, a little bit more than his 2 seconds with the regular playing cards. So yeah, Izuku starts to walk through the room or walk through the house as he slowly would start to look around, trying to figure out what the hell's going on and why the door was like open, like not unlocked. I mean, deadass like slightly creaked open. Izuku would have looked over as he would have sensed something. Him being trained in the ways of the assassin and being known that it's not that easy to sneak up on him. Izuku would have dodged out of the way from a shuriken as he would have seen somebody with a M on their forehead, as it would have been an assassin sent after him from the Assassin's Guild that Izuku was raised from, or basically, taken in by when he was about 6, 7. We see that Deku starts to dodge out of the way from multiple different blasts and impacts. Izuku would have started to tell him, why are you here and why are you doing this? I've quit, I've left, I'm just a kid. Why do you guys even need me? You have stronger people on your roster anyway. As she would have said that you know too much about our organization. You know too much about the Assassin's Guild. You can't just be left and expect to be a hero now. You're far from that. You chose to be a part of this organization. I didn't choose shit. I didn't choose at all, Maximoff. As the person would have gotten a little bit pissed off saying, you remember me, don't you? As the kid would have thrown a huge blast of red energy towards Izuku, as Izuku would have dodged out the way, him jumping up and hitting the kid upside the forehead with a huge haymaker. As the kid would have dodged multiple out the way, as Deku would have dodged and would have jumped back into the kitchen, as he would have started to chuck multiple different throwing knives, charging them up, taking as much time as he possibly can, as he would have started to just chuck these knives dead point blank towards this guy. Or technically a girl, as her mouth would have been cut off from one of the cleavers, as he would have been, well, shown to be some sort of, I guess, alternate version of Wanda. As we see that she would have hit him with a huge blast of red energy, pinning him against the wall, telling him to stop now. As he would have said that, is this because I dumped you, huh? As he would have said, it's not because of that. I'm telling you right here, right now, stop this. You're coming with me. I don't want to kill you. I don't want to kill you, Remy. I don't want to do that to you. But you're leaving me with no choice. The Assassin's Guild wants you back. Either you come back with us and leave this hero business behind and leave Aizawa, or erase her head, or I kill you now, and I really don't want to do that. As Zuko says, third option. How about I just blow up that deck of cards in your breast? As Izuku basically smirks as she knows that it's a huge-ass deck of cards just laid on her chest. I mean, how the hell did she not notice that? But we see that she basically starts to frantically move around and goes for a literal duck dive on the other side of the kitchen. And Izuku basically throws himself into the cabinets, taking the explosion head on, or not taking the explosion head on, but the explosion basically taking majority of the kitchen and destroying majority of it. Izuku would have been underneath all the wooden rubble, as we see that Wanda would have thought he was dead since he didn't have a pulse. She would have left, as she would have gotten out of the basically place before Aizawa would have shown up. Aizawa would have shown up, seeing Izuku underneath the rubble, as he would have given him mouth-to-mouth, trying to give him chest compressions to keep him back to life. Izuku would have basically faded back to consciousness in the hospital hours later. We see that Izuku was told by Aizawa that the pretty much cameras in the house picked up everything. And Deku hitting him with the, there's cameras in the house? Aizawa would have said, yeah, we gotta talk about your search history. But I'm gonna leave it off here, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you guys like and subscribe. And as always, guys, have a blessed day. Deuces.